So I got my walk in today. I'm up to doing about 2.5 miles a day, and that feels pretty good. And back to doing some jogging, running slow with that. So that feels good. And that's my goal, is to work back up to running a 5K. So I need a little motivation today. So I got my Run Like a Girl shirt out, which helps. And yeah, so it's good. It's a pretty day here in Central Ohio. Let's see who else is jumping on. I see Pam from Indiana. Hi, Jill from Northeast Ohio, not too far from me. Welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I'm happy you're here on this Friday afternoon. I've got a great fun fold to show you today. But before then, I want to remind you that my potted geraniums class to go is open for registration now, and that is through April, what's Tuesday, 14th? Yes, Tuesday, not April, why did I say April? June 14th, which is Flag Day in the US. Yes, so potted geraniums class to go, it's amazing. It is amazing. You'll make 8 cards to each of 4 designs, and it does include a fun fold card in there with that. But just bright, fun, cheery cards that are perfect for sending to anybody for any reason in these beautiful summer months. So please check that out on my blog, stampinpeace.com. And happy Fun Fold Friday. So I'm going to flip my camera around, and while I'm doing that, I ask you to share this video and invite others to join us. Oh, Lori, awesome. Lori purchased my Wild and Sweet class to go. That's with the really cute animals. I don't have those cards close to me to show them, but it's the panda, the koala, and the raccoon. Super cute cards. I'm so glad to hear you completed those. Awesome. Welcome, Holly and Carol, Jeanne. Oh, Jeanne, you're on vacation in Reno. How nice. And thanks to all of you for sharing. Lori received her Sweet Songbirds class to go today. Awesome. You'll love making those cards. Jill, I'm happy to hear you're walking too. Yes. And if you're running, you'll be on fire. Oh, you're funny. Yeah, it's going to take me a while for that. Some of you know my story, that I went through divorce and then moved to Columbus about a year afterwards, and got it in my head that I wanted to run a 5K. I've never been athletic in any way, shape, or form, never played a sport. But my daughter, Andrea, coached me along. She was a great cheerleader and really, really pushed me. And that year we ran a 10K and a quarter marathon. And then, and I say run, there was a little walking in there, each of those races. But then in that fall, I did run a 5K, no walking, ran a 5K. And I was so proud of myself. Such a great feeling. And I decided, and that was pre-pandemic. So I decided I'd like to do that again. I need to work on getting healthier. So here's the card we're going to make today. This is called a double gatefold card. And I'm using products from the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper, which is retiring. I checked just about an hour ago. It is still available. It's gorgeous paper. I'll pull out some of the sheets that I have. Gorgeous colors. But it is still available. That's the print we're using on this first card. And it's on sale for, I believe it was $8.05. So a really great deal for Designer Series paper. So you can find that on my online store. And then in addition, I'm using some of the stamps from the Flowering Tulips stamp set. It has a nice set of dies coordinating, and this does carry over from our current mini catalog, and it's now in the new annual catalog. So I've got all my pieces pre-cut for this gatefold card. I guess I should open up for you and show you first of all. So I've got a belly band, so it fits snug to hold the card closed, but loose enough that I can just pull it right off, and then this is how it opens. So on a traditional gatefold card, we just have a left and right door. This is a double gatefold card because it's got these extra pieces here. So that's what makes it a double gatefold card. And you'll notice that I did a little stamping on the inside as well. So to start, you're going to need a piece of a 5.5 by 11-inch cardstock for your card base. All right, 5.5 by 11 inches. Boy, we have people from everywhere today. This is awesome. Connecticut, Wisconsin, Iowa. Oh, you guys are awesome. Okay, for the first part, and I need to double check my measurements here. Yes. So we're going to score at each end at 1 1/4 inches. So you can just do a quick flip and turn. And I'm scoring again at 1 1/4 inches. Then I want you to take that cardstock and flip to the opposite side, and now score at 3 3/8. And you're going to score the same on the other end, 3 3/8. Does anybody remember why I flipped my cardstock over before scoring the second time? Does anybody know? And I just lost my, weird things are popping up here. There we go. Florida, Vicky represents Florida. Does anybody know why I flipped my cardstock over before I made the second set of score lines? Because we're folding each of those score lines in a different direction. So when we score on top, that means we're going to push the pieces together like that. Okay, so this would be the top, and we're pushing those pieces together. So that's why I did that. It just gives a little bit nicer fold to be able to go the right direction. It's not a big deal if you just want to score 1 1/4, 3 3/8, 1 1/4, 3 3/8. It's just makes the fold not quite as crisp. I'll put it that way, not quite as crisp. But here is the base for the double gatefold card. I use this as kind of as my guide to, I'm trying to get this in here well, because this is my guide to staying in the viewing frame for all of you. I think that'll be better. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper, and I'm actually going to cut these pieces. Now this happens to be, let's see, 5 3/8 by 6 inches, 5 3/8 by 6 inches. And I'm doing it this way because I am using both sides of this one piece of DSP. I'll show you in my second card the measurements if you're choosing something different. And the second card I make with you today will be a little bit different than this first one as far as layering. So I need 2 pieces, 2 of the larger pieces. I'm going to put these right here on this left panel and right panel. Okay. So these are a little bit larger. So 5 3/8 by 1 7/8. And I'm cutting 2 of those. 5 3/8 by 1 7/8. And then for the tulip side, I need 2 pieces that are 1 1/8 inch wide. I think this is going to be pretty close. Yeah. Actually, I think it is. Exactly. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to the front of my double gatefold card. So I've got the left panel and then the large right panel. And then I've got my two small pieces. And since I cut these strips from the same piece of DSP, I like to keep them in order as far as left and right so that they match up along the center. That's just a little thing I do. It's not a huge deal. It makes a bigger difference when you have large prints. Oh, Karen, you're at your vacation home in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. That sounds fabulous. That's a place I've never been to. I have been to Colorado, but not Steamboat Springs. Sounds fabulous. I see Nancy from Iowa has joined us as well. I'm glad you're here, Nancy. So I've now got the basics of my gatefold card together. I have a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I am going to, where's my scrap paper? I'm going to do a little stamping just down in the corner here. I'm going to stamp a little bit of tulip, sort of a fun surprise on the inside of the card. One thing I was going to point out to you is I use the stem in both directions, depending on which way I want my stem to go or my flower to go. All right. So just keep that in mind. There's not necessarily, in my opinion, I think this is the way it's intended to be. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that goes along with the way it's pictured on the stamp case. But there's nothing saying that we can't turn it the other way when we want to, if we want our flower going in a little bit different direction. And I'll stamp. Same thing with the leaves. I kind of use these interchangeably. So I'll take it and flip it and do a little bit higher leaf here. Like I said, I find those to be, or I use them interchangeably, I should say. And you will see in this stamp set, there is two-step stamping, just so that you get various shades of the same color. You can also use 2 different colors if you prefer, for even more variation of color in your tulips. So now I'll adhere this to the inside. So I don't think I mentioned that this double gatefold card, the base is a totally different measurements and scoring as our typical card, but the completed closed card is the same size, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So it fits nicely in our Stampin' Up! Envelopes. You don't have to worry about that at all. And now I've cut a piece of designer series paper that is 1 inch wide, and I'm going to use this to make the belly band. And one end I'm going to take and go pretty, this is 1 by 12, I should say. I just cut a 1-inch strip off a piece of that pretty DSP. And I always like to add my belly bands in such a way that I can hide the seams. Anytime I have a chance to hide a seam, I like to do that. It just makes the finished product a little more professional, clean, finished look. And this is a little bit long, so I'm just going to, because I know what I'm using might not quite cover that. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit short to a place where I know that edge will be covered by what I'm putting on top. Now, to make sure, because you want your adhesive only where it's going to be, what do I want to say? You don't want to go too far here on your adhesive. All right. So what I like to do is put some adhesive on this end on the outside and put some adhesive on the opposite end on the inside. And then I can fold these over. I like to make sure that those top and bottom sides are lined up nice and neat. And I just hold it for a few seconds. And then there's my belly band, snug enough to hold it closed, but loose enough that I can slide this on and off. So now I'm going to use a sentiment from the Flowering Tulip stamp set. This one says, "Let today be the start of something new." There's lots of good reasons to send a card with that sentiment. I think that I will be sending this one to my daughter Emily on the 8th of July. No, not the 8th. The 11th of July. She'll be starting her first job as a physical therapist in Cincinnati. So this will be, and she's moving into a new apartment the week before. So she's got a lot of fun things happening in her life. And I thought this would just be a neat sentiment to send her a good luck card. You're making your dreams come true kind of card. This is our new decorative circle punch in the annual catalog. I love it. It's great for layering with other circles as well. And then I'm just going to, so I know I want this in the center, I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive right there and put this down. And I need a little bit of embellishment. So today I'm going to use these pretty brushed brass butterflies. Maybe I'll use this side. I want one here. And then I'm going to use a couple of these small ones as well. I'm not sure if I want them at the top or bottom or both. These embellishments are so fun, and I like that they're so thin. I mean, can you see how thin they are? They're about as thin as a piece of paper. So it's nice when you're adding embellishments for mailing. They do not create any bulk whatsoever. Hi there, Connie. No worries that you're late to the party. I'm happy that you're here. And yes, you can always watch from the beginning on the replay once the Facebook Live has ended. So there's our first double gatefold card. Now I'm going to make a second one very similar, but we're going to add more layers to it. And yes, I will be giving away both cards today, so hang on to the end. I'll set this here for now. So the difference, here's the second one. Other than the DSP, it's still from the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper pack, but I chose different sheets. But the biggest difference here is that I have 2 layers on each of the front panels. So the white cardstock layers on the second card are the same size as my DSP layers on the first card. Okay, and then I've changed that, Bill. Lori, yes, this stamp set should still be available. If you want the bundle, use the bundle number from the current mini catalog, which is retiring this month, but you'll find both of these products in the new annual catalog as well. I just don't remember if they're a bundle in the new annual catalog or if you have to buy the 2 separate pieces. But yes, so I would say order from the January, June mini catalog first, just in case it's not a bundle in the annual catalog. I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, so let's go ahead and make this card. And I'll give you the dimensions if you like this, the double layers on each of the panels as opposed to the single layers. That way you'll have both. So again, I'm starting with 5.5 by 11 inches for my cardstock base. And I'm going to score at 1 1/4. So the cardstock base is going to be cut and scored the same. 1 1/4 score line on each end. And then you're going to score at 3 3/8. So I flipped my cardstock over and I'm scoring at 3 3/8 on each end. And I did that little flip from front to back because the score lines, the 2 sets of score lines are each folded in different directions. So I just make your folded lines a little more crisp when you do that. And honestly, easier to fold too. So now I've got pieces of white cardstock, and I'll give you the measurements. The larger white strips, or the wider ones, are 5 3/8 by 1 7/8. And again, when I put this video on my blog in the next few days, I will have all of the measurements written out for you. In my blog, stampinpiece.com, that's a good thing to remember because that is where you're going to get all the fine details written out when I post the Facebook Live replay. And it has the most information as far as classes to go and promotions, things like that. The place where you get the most information as far as everything in my business would be the blog, stampinpiece.com, or my newsletter. And you can subscribe to both the blog and the newsletter by going to stampinpiece.com. If you do one or both of those, you should have all the information for everything happening at Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe and with Stampin' Up! Promotions as well. Then I'm going to add my designer series paper. So I have 2 strips that measure 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. So now we're going down a little bit in size. Carol, thank you. That's kind of what I was thinking, that if you like the flowering tulips stamp set with the dies, you want to purchase it with the bundle number at the bundle price from the mini catalog, the current mini catalog that's about to retire, because that way you get a 10% discount on both the stamp set and the dies. When they're carried over to the new annual catalog, they're only being sold as separates, so you would no longer get that discount on the two. Carol, thanks for checking that and giving all of us the information. I appreciate that. Lori, I'm like you. I love the wording in the stamp set. I really do. Many of you know that, I love beautiful images, but sometimes if I'm on the fence about a stamp set, it might be the sentiments that push me over the edge. In other words, sentiments mean a lot. Like, I think this one, "Let today be the start of something new," is so much more fun and nicer than saying, "Good luck at your new job," right? Or if somebody's moving away for whatever reason, whether they want to or not, I think that's a great sentiment. Instead of saying happy birthday, no one deserves a happier birthday than you. Thank you. You are so thoughtful. So it just gives us a little more, what should I call it? A little more meat, a little more substance in those, what we would commonly use. Where's my scrap paper? Here it is. Just a little bit extra for those common ones. Oh, Jill, I would love it if you had used this for your card swap. That sounds awesome. More value, yes. On the inside of this card, I'm going to basically just stamp the same thing that I did with the first. Just brighten up the inside of that card. The ink colors I'm using, if I didn't say that, are Mossy Meadow and Poppy Parade. Mossy Meadow and Poppy Parade. And those are the same colors as the card bases today. Oops, that's not the one I want. It's for the others. And really, these two-step stamps are very easy to match up. The shapes, it's easy to figure out. It's not hard at all. So I'll add this to the inside of my card. That little bit of stamping inside will be a fun surprise when somebody opens this. And you've still got plenty of room to write a personal message. Now let's make the belly band. Actually, since I have my ink open, I'll go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I'm using that "thank you, you are so thoughtful" sentiment. And I am also, oops, I got a little heavy on that one side. Let me try this with a little more even pressure. Oh, that's much better. You see the difference here? You can tell I was pushing harder on this right side. And here with a flat hand, I got some more even pressure. And I'm punching this again with that new decorative circle punch. This one's also great if you want to layer with your circle punches or are layering circle dies. A lot of, lots of variations based on the sizes. All right, so now I've got a piece of 1 inch by 11 inch cardstock, and I've got not 1 inch, 1 inch strip of cardstock. This is 7/8 inch of designer series paper. I'm not going to go all the way to the end of the DSP because I just cut this strip from a 12-inch piece, so it's a little bit longer than the cardstock I cut from the 8.5 by 11 piece. I'm just going to cut off this extra little end here. And now I'm ready to wrap this around my double gatefold card. And honestly, when I put my belly bands on, I don't like to score ahead of time. Somebody might tell you, well, score at 4 1/4 and then score, at 8.5, another 4 1/4 from that. However, because of sometimes our cards are a little thicker, right? Or they are going to be thicker than a plain sheet of paper, it makes it hard to give exact score lines that will give you that nice smooth look. So that's why I just wrap and crease as I go along. And I'll adhere these ends together, and then I'll be ready to add the sentiment to the front. Make sure your top and bottom edges are lined up nicely. Hold that for a few seconds. You could even pop this up on dimensionals if you want. I'm just keeping it simple. And remember, fun fold cards a lot of times are just a little bit, oh, I didn't realize I did. Oh wait, will it still be hidden? Well, I guess they can see it when they take off the belly band, but I'm still going with it. I guess I should have stamped on a second piece of cardstock. So it still slides nice and easily, right? And once again, let's finish off with some of these pretty brushed brass butterflies. BBB, brushed brass butterflies. That's a mouthful. Ooh, very pretty. All right, there we have it. Let me bring in the first card again. Nope, that's my second sample. Here it is. So here's the first card and the second. So obviously this one is a little thicker. It's still not too thick to mail though, but it is a little bit thicker because we have a second layer. We've got the cardstock, basic white cardstock layer, and then the DSP layer on top. This one, we just did the DSP layers, but both of them nice, both of them just effective and bright and cheerful. I hope you like them as much as I do. Truly, the double gatefold card truly is very easy to make. All right. And I will, like I said, I will be posting these on my blog in the next few days, and I'll have all of the measurements written out. Of course, you can simply view the replay right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe on Facebook, if you can't wait for that. The other thing is I do photos when I put my cards and the Facebook Live replay on my post. And sometimes it's just nice to get an up-close look at the cards and the details as well. If you would like to be entered into the drawing to win one of these cards, please type flowering tulips in the comments now. And I will choose 2 names for people to receive one of these cards. So flowering tulips. Another reminder that, let me pull this out here. Another reminder that many of the items in the January to June mini catalog are retiring. Some are discounted. All right. Everything that's retiring, everything that's on that last chance list is while supplies last only. Some things have sold out. And let me see if I can quickly find the page for, here I know, for this suite. Let's see here, page 15. I did check before I went live today, and the designer series paper that you saw me use, that Flowering Fields DSP, is still available. It's 30% off. You can get it for $8.05, a great deal. The butterfly embellishments and the ribbon are carrying over, so you will see them in the annual catalog that just started earlier this month. The flowering tulips stamp set and dies are carrying over, but if you like both of them, please buy them before June 30th at the bundle price with the bundle number, because in the new catalog, the new big catalog, you have to buy them separately, so you don't have that 10% savings. And then the other bundle in there is retiring as well. Alrighty, so all of the products I used today are still available. Like I said, this DSP is while supplies last. It is on sale. I'm kind of surprised it's not sold out already, to be honest, because it was so very popular. Anyways, you all have a great weekend. Thanks for spending part of your Friday afternoon with me. I appreciate you. I love you, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to share stamping and crafting with you. I will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. and I haven't decided for sure, but I'm leaning towards doing a one-sheet wonder on Monday afternoon. So I hope you'll join me then right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Have a great weekend.